Uh, all right, there we go. We got that up and going. So again, thank you everyone for joining us. Eugene Howard. This is our 12th land use and housing webinar. So it's hard to believe that we've been at this for a year, but here we go. So again, here are the folks that will be presenting to you today. I'm Eugene Howard. We've got Mitch Hendrick, Hannah Van den Wegen, Mark Williams, and Scott Williamson all here today. We also have other DOLA staff members standing on the sidelines ready to chime in as needed. So really, again, thank you all for joining us today. As we like to always share, this is our meeting format and it pretty well aligns with our website. So our monthly meetings and our website are organized to provide information and upcoming items in these various tracks. So today we'll cover some general updates and then we'll go and cover the land use laws by topic to provide you with new information, updates, and some upcoming new milestones. One of the things that we have learned over the course of this last year is that while we put on these webinars to share information, share updates, kind of work with you all to let you know how implementation is progressing, but the other key thing is we learn so much from each of you. So when we engage in conversations and when you all bring forward questions for us to address, it's really where a lot of the learning comes through. So we just continue to encourage all of you to continue reaching out to us as we go through the implementation milestones with the related laws. There's a variety of ways that you can reach out to us. And again, we're more than happy to meet one-on-one. For those who want to send us questions, we can do that asynchronously. So just a variety of different ways. And we always say, um, feel free to start with either reaching out to us directly or by visiting our DOLA land use webpage. We have a lot of information. We constantly are updating it to provide new information and new tools and resources. And so if you think that your question could be answered by a quick visit, we encourage you to do that. And of course, again, reach out to us at any time. Last month, as you can see, for those who are viewing online, we had a very packed agenda in June. We had quite a few updates to share. I won't go over this slide because any of this information that for those of you who are watching that you would want to go back and see, we do have last month's recording up and available. And of course, again, you can always reach out to us to cover any of the items that you see on the screen here. But more importantly than what we did last month is what we're going to talk about today. So we do have a number of new updates that we'd like to share. We'll go over at a very high level some of the legislation that was passed this year. We're still working through some of the details, so we don't have a lot to share today, but we'll give some highlights. And then our team will go through and provide updates on the specific laws as mentioned here. We have a webinar coming up, one as early as next week. So Mark will be sharing a bit more about that. Hannah and Scott will be sharing more information on neighborhood centers and strategic growth and where things stand with the development of those projects. And then Mitch and his team will close us out with going over some of the grant opportunities that help support and fund these efforts. So more to come. Here we go. I know we've covered this slide, but for anyone that doesn't join us regularly or is maybe joining us for one of the first times, this is an overview of the laws that were passed last year, our residential occupancy limits, minimum parking requirements, accessory dwelling units, transit-oriented communities, and affordable housing planning. And these are the laws that we'll give some more specific updates on today, as well as touching on the laws that were passed this year. And speaking of 2025, what went through successfully this year was House Bill 25-1093, which further refines new growth limits, and I'll get to that here in a second. Some legislation, now law, passed around regional planning roundtables, which is kind of exciting. Residential building stair modernization, and then some updates on factory built structures. So I'll go ahead and get started giving a quick overview of these. So House Bill 25-1093 really is just an advancement or a furthering of the definition of the law that was passed in 2023, House Bill 23-1255. That law really started to begin understanding and putting some definition around growth limits and some of the work that's taking place around the state. And so uh, HB 25-1093 is an advancement of that initial law. And as we begin to work through and understand the details of that, we'll be using this platform, this monthly webinar, and of course, our other web-based tools to share more as we understand and develop more related to this law. The key thing, though, that it will take effect as early as next week, August 5th. So just wanted to make sure to point out that date. Then with House Bill 25-1198, our Regional Planning Roundtables law, this will be one that is facilitated and managed by DOLA. And it's really an opportunity as we are looking at it and formulating what this might consist of, looking at it as an opportunity to work with local governments, marshal our resources within the state, our subject matter experts, the expertise that exists within local communities. And when a local government has an issue or a question or really would like to have some thought leadership around a topic, this is one of the ways that the legislature saw that we could potentially create a mechanism to have those roundtable discussions. So we are working through this and we'll be bringing you more information as we develop it. But this could be pretty interesting and really an opportunity to learn from one another and leverage our own expertise within our state for our state. Then moving on to House Bill 25-1273, the residential building stair modernization. This is one that is also pretty interesting to us. We're working through some of the details, but this really could be an opportunity, particularly within our larger municipalities, to look at ways to continue adding more tools to the housing need toolbox. So more to come on this as we continue to think it through and work out some of the details. But stay tuned, and as we get more information, we'll be sharing it through this webinar, and also in partnership with the State Demographer's Office. So we're really excited to work with our partners that are really literally right next door. So more to come on that as well. And then the final item for today, just a quick update, is on Senate Bill 25-0002, factory built structures. I think this is an interesting time in just where we are in the development world. We've got, homes that are being 3D printed, and we all know that technology changes rapidly almost every single day. I'm waiting on a new foldable phone to show up today, so it's like pretty wild. Who would have thought 10 years ago that we'd be talking about phones that can fold in half? But the same kind of technological advancements are taking place with factory built modular homes and our tiny homes. And so it really is probably a really good time for us to see how technology in the home production market can help serve our communities and the needs that we have here in the state. So more to come on this as well. And while this is not necessarily a DOLA-led initiative, this is really working with our sister agency, the Division of Housing. So they will be the leads on this, but as we learn from them and collect information around how they are planning to approach this law, we'll be sharing information and updates with you all as well. So kind of exciting to see kind of what comes from that. And one of the really exciting things that we really wanted to take a moment to express to all of you is our thanks. I know over the last few months and really over the last few weeks, many of you were working with us to not only develop the reporting portal, but many of you were just using it over the last few weeks. And the development team, as well as the TA team, we just really wanted to take a moment and sincerely thank you all. From those of you who took time over lunch or out of your busy work days to provide guidance and input in the development of the reporting tool, to those of you who were using it over the last few weeks, we just, again, cannot do this work without you. many of you informed how the tool was developed and the guidance related to it. So on the screen is the land use team. So now you can kind of see how tall we actually are. And on the bottom of the slide here is a development team that we've been working with. And they've just been a great, very responsive, sharp team to work with. And so we just wanted to say a huge thank you. In addition to thanking you, and for those of you who gave us input and guidance, the team would like to extend another opportunity. Now that you all have had some experience using the portal and how it worked for you, we would really welcome any kind of feedback or comments or suggestions you might have on how we might look at making any improvements or enhancements to the tool, or just truly understanding what your experience was like. The development team here and the Cornflower Labs gentlemen really wanted to develop something that would be easy and intuitive to use. And so, we always want to understand how it worked so that we can continue making sure that it is a tool that is easy for everyone to use. And so, to that end, we are offering you all to give us feedback, and we're thinking about perhaps the week of August. I think August 4th is the Monday, but we're looking at potentially doing, much like we've done in the past, having sort of an informal drop-in session on August 6th at noon Mountain, obviously, or another opportunity on Friday, August 8th, around 10:30, around this time. And so if you don't mind, if you think you would like to participate in giving us feedback on how the tool worked, and if August 6th at noon or August 8th at 10:30 a.m. would work for you, would you please drop us your preference in the chat? And if either of those two times would work for you, that would be great too. We'd love to try to schedule, again, this would be super informal, drop in as you are able, but those are the 2 days that we're currently considering. So let us know in the chat if you have a preference between August 6th or August 8th, and we'll continue to see if we can't arrange a time for you all to provide us with that feedback. All right, now on to law-specific updates, and I'll kick things off with transit-oriented communities. So I think you all know that June 30th was a really important key milestone. And thank you to all of you who were able to work with us leading up to it. And then those of you who were getting in your submissions on the 30th. We now have quite a bit of work to get through reviewing everything that was provided. So again, a sincere thank you for that and all the hard work that we know all of you put into meeting that deadline. So now we're now in July, still for a few more days. And really, our team is heavily invested in reviewing all of the materials that have been submitted to us. So we've got quite a bit to get through, and no new updates at this time related to that. But just thank you again for those who got everything in, and know that we are going to be spending the next few weeks reviewing all the materials provided. This was a quick sort of, hey, what have we accomplished in partnership with the state and with all of you? And it's pretty exciting that looking at a long list of things that were slated for us here in 2025, we've gotten through a rather large bulk of that material. And so now, as we are moving into the review of the preliminary housing opportunity goal reports, we're also turning our attention to the transit center work. And so as we look at the remainder of 2025, we're really going to be focused on developing and reviewing the preliminary housing reports that have been submitted to us. We're working to meet the October reporting deadline, external reporting deadline, that is. But in the meantime, we will be reaching out as needed to have conversations and one-on-one discussions with those of you who have supplied your reports. If we have any things or comments or questions for clarification, we'll be engaging over the next few weeks to have that dialogue because, again, these were preliminary reports to really just have a check-in. And so now we're doing that work right now, and it will take us a few weeks because it's quite a big undertaking. In addition to reviewing our preliminary housing opportunity goal reports, moving our attention to the transit center calculation model and technical assistance related to that. So much as you all did with the housing opportunity goal work, now that we are looking towards understanding what zoning capacity exists, we'd love to work with you again on that work as well. So we really see the balance of this year getting into the fine tuning of those details. Again, wanting to have conversations with all of you and understanding how implementation can work in your communities with us. And then really working on providing assistance for the calculations and the modeling. Now, the transit center calculation information isn't due for a while. It's not due until at the end of December of next year, along with the final housing opportunity goal report. So we've got some time to work with you all. But we also know how quickly this year has gone by so far. So we want to make sure that we telegraph this, start having conversations with you all so that we do have the benefit of the time that's in front of us to work through all of these tools. And then, of course, any resulting zoning outcomes or modifications that come out of the next 18 months of work, we will all have another year up until December 31st of 2027 to work with you all in that space as well. So I know it seems like it's out there a ways, but no time like the present to get things started. So just wanted to make sure that we shared kind of a retrospect of where we've been and where we're going. And for anyone that is still sort of maybe working through some fine, last minute details, but still intend to give us information, the portal remains open. I know we will be going through the review and evaluation process on the submissions given to us. But do know that if you were wondering, oh gosh, did we miss the deadline or can we still get our report in? Yes, is the answer to that. So if you have questions or if you have maybe new staff that has taken over a particular topic that is related to reporting, just let us know. We're still here. We're still accepting submissions for anyone that's still working through those last minute details. So here's how you can get to the portal. Again, if you've got new staff or a new person's taken on a new role within your agency, but they don't have an account, we can still set up new users. We can make any adjustments to any existing accounts if someone has had a promotion or has moved to a different role. And of course, if you have any issues that you experience, we've hopefully captured any of those, but feel free to let us know and we'll be happy to assist. All right. And if you are still sort of working through, or maybe are just new to this conversation and want to understand what tools and resources are available related to the transit-oriented communities law, you can find those resources on our law-specific webpage. When we send out our follow-up meeting notes, we'll send this presentation as well. So the things that are hyperlinks here will be accessible to you when we send out the presentation. But guidance documents, calculation tools, and modeling. We've put together a number of GIS related resources. And so a lot of this information you can find on our resources page within the TOC law. And of course, if you have any questions or would like to ask for some assistance with the tools, Kyle Soner, who's a part of our team, is here, and you can see his email address is listed here on the slide as well. And Kyle has been taking inquiries and helping folks out. So don't be shy. Just give us a reach. Now, I know this says June 30th, but we just wanted to let you know that again, it's not too late. I think we only have one or two, maybe a handful of you out there that maybe are working through some last minute details. So even though the date has passed and has now turned red, there's still time. And again, the optional reports or tools that we've made available. If you have additional exemptions or you want to help us understand your water supply situations, that we've got some optional reporting forms for those as well. And so again, we're working on finalizing some new tools, Housing Opportunity Goal Report, and our optional transit area form. So we've got some other things still in development, and we'll be reaching out for feedback on those as they continue to be produced. So With that, I'm going to take a quick breath and hand things over to my colleague Hannah to give updates on parking and accessory dwelling units. So thank you, and take it away, Hannah.
Great. Thank you so much, Eugene. So I just have a few quick updates on the minimum parking requirements law. I just wanted to remind folks of the timeline, even though this is in the past now. The do not enforce date of the minimum parking requirements law was June 30th, and that has elapsed since when we last met and today. So I just wanted to remind folks that that do not enforce date just means that any minimum parking requirements that are applicable to this law shall not be enforced beyond June 30th. The next date that you'll want to pay attention to for this particular law is December, I believe it was 30th of 2026, and that applies, or December 31st, 2026, that applies only if you are planning on using the exception that's in the law. And I'd be happy to talk about that more if you want to email me. Next slide. This is just a reminder of the various resources that are available regarding this law. This will be particularly helpful if you are planning on using that exception. We do have the best practices guide and report, the webpage, as well as a webinar that kind of, or that highlighted some of these best practices. Next slide. Just also a reminder that if you are still working through any code updates regarding this law, I'm happy to assist. Please email me any draft code language that you maybe want to run past someone at DOLA, or if you need ideas or examples from other jurisdictions, I'm happy to provide those. Also, don't forget that we do have the template land development code, and of course, we have the engagement opportunities webpage if you'd rather reach out to us there. All right, now moving on to accessory dwelling units. Again, this is kind of in the past, but the effective date or the reporting date was June 30th. We did receive a number of reports, whether that was for compliance, applications for supportive jurisdictions, or extension requests. Thank you so much for sending those out or sending those to us. They are currently in review, and Mitch will talk a little bit more about the ADU grant program, but round one we're anticipating, or the pilot round, will be in August. We are also still working on the ADU toolkit. We are planning on having that up and ready for folks in the next couple months or so. Next slide. I wanted to, again, if you've been on these meetings for the last several months, you've heard me say this already, but I can never say it too much. And that is to walk through how to become an ADU supportive jurisdiction. So an ADU supportive jurisdiction may be any jurisdiction, whether they're subject to the law or not, and who are interested in voluntarily complying, who are eligible for funding options created by the ADU law. So in order to become a supportive jurisdiction, they must submit an ADU compliance report through the portal, and it must illustrate compliance with the requirements of the ADU law. From there, and you can wait until you get approval from the compliance report or submit it concurrently, both are fine. You would submit the optional ADU supportive jurisdiction form that illustrates implementation of at least one of the following strategies. Next slide. I know this is a lot of text, but we do have a guide online that details each of these 9 strategies and some potential examples, pitfalls, and responses to those potential pitfalls. And there's also a 10th strategy, which is kind of a build your own option. We definitely don't want to assume that we understand every single potential local context. And so the build your own option is for those unique circumstances that might exist throughout the state. Next slide. So once you submit that form, your third step is to, well, not your third step, it's our step, to review that report and let us, we will let you know if we are approving that request or if we have any questions or need additional information. Once you're approved, your jurisdiction is now eligible to apply for the ADU grant program. But it's really important to note that even if you aren't interested in the ADU grant program, or you don't have like a program or a potential project like on the horizon for ADUs, becoming an ADU supportive jurisdiction still has a benefit for your residents. The Colorado Housing and Finance Authority is currently developing a program to help fund ADU related projects construction through their department. So even if you're not planning on any ADU grant related projects, becoming a supportive jurisdiction does have a benefit to your residents. And again, I'd be happy to talk about that further if you're interested. Next slide. Here's a quick link to that supportive strategy guidance in case you need. Again, this offers information, benefits, pitfalls, responses, things like that. Next slide. And if you have submitted an extension request, or if you're looking to voluntarily comply, and you're interested in some examples on how to update your code, the Template Land Development Code is a great resource, as well as our ADU webpage. And again, if you have any specific questions that maybe are unique to your jurisdiction, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to work through any questions or potential concerns or anything like that. And it's, I guess, share what I've seen other jurisdictions do. Next slide. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to me. There's a number of ways to do that. Also, if you have a bunch of HOAs that are asking your jurisdiction questions about the ADU law, we did host an HOA-focused webinar with the Department of Regulatory Agencies. That would be a great resource for them. And we do have links to the recording and the slides here. Thank you. Next steps, the ADU toolkit is coming soon. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it's going to be worth the wait. It's great, if I do say so myself. So this ADU toolkit will be a really in-depth guide to examples across the state, ideas, templates, examples outside of the state, and with the goal of streamlining and boosting ADU production. And that can happen, of course, in a number of ways. Once that does get published, we are interested in hearing feedback about the toolkit. So if you have any feedback, but then also any examples that would be great to add to the toolkit, please reach out to me as well. Next slide. And with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Mark Williams.
Thanks, Hannah. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being with us. So I thought it'd be useful to color code what's going on by blue, which is what local governments need to do, and then by green to highlight what we've been working on. So our portal is now open for H&A submissions, as Eugene mentioned earlier. Those are due by the end of next year. And then for housing action plans, the big news for that is the guidance is online, and we're doing a webinar next Thursday at 10:30. So if you haven't already registered and you're interested in doing that, you can get on our page and register for that. And housing action plans are due on January 1st, 2028. And we're also working on strategic growth water supply elements for comp plans. And I guess that's the next two slides, but there's a mix of guidance that's on the website right now. That guidance is also being refined to help local governments provide what they really need to get submitted, which needs to be by later next year. And so displacement risk guidance is also on the website. That is also being refined, and that'll probably happen later this month with the updated documents. And then affordability and displacement risk strategies is also something that's new and is on the website since the end of last month. We're going to do a peer exchange on those. If you haven't been to one, that's a really interesting way for local governments to participate, and I'll talk about that more in just a second. And then, as I mentioned, the HNA and the HAP guides, housing action plan guides are on the website. Next slide, please. This slide is really just rehashing what I said in the first slide. This is a little bit easier for some people who may have visual issues, so we want all our slides to be meet our accessibility guidelines. And then as for housing needs assessments, sorry, there's a typo right there that should say due December 31st, 2026. And don't forget to have a public meeting. And courtesy reviews are really helpful for local governments to know what they need to do if they have any questions. We've done a lot of these. We answer a lot of questions. So if you do have any questions, don't be shy to reach out. Assistance is literally in our job titles. And as I mentioned, our webinar for housing action plans is going to be next Thursday at 10:30. So go ahead and register. And just a brief explanation on the acronym for HAP. There are two HAP acronyms in DOLA. So this one is Housing Action Plan. Don't get it confused with Housing Affordability Programs. And then the last bullet here. So as I said, I was going to go just a little bit deeper into the planners peer exchange. If you are interested in participating in that, you can let me know. I would say you can find the guidance on our website and look through those documents. They're sort of a menu of strategies and approaches to affordability and displacement risk mitigation. I know that somewhere in Colorado, someone has probably worked on all of these issues. And so we thought it would be a great opportunity to hear from the local governments about how they're approaching these issues as opposed to us rehashing what's in the guides that you see or the guides that are online. So as I said, just let me know. And by October 16th, we'll have that meeting. So and then the last thing you can see on the right, those are the new guidance documents that are online, or at least the one on the right is. So I'm now going to hand this off to Scott Williamson, I believe.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. We're going to talk about neighborhood centers and strategic growth in the next section. But first up is Hannah to talk about the neighborhood centers program.
Me again. So I just wanted to give a brief overview of the Neighborhood Centers program. This program is a voluntary method for local governments to designate that certain state agencies consider in their funding prioritization criteria. And the goal is to coordinate investments to achieve the built environments that we're all hoping to see. A neighborhood center may currently exist. It may be areas that are anticipated to become walkable, pedestrian-oriented mixed-use areas through various plans, policies, and other regulatory documents. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more, we did do a deeper dive on this topic in December of last year. Next slide. The implementation process for this program is relatively straightforward. We set the neighborhood center criteria in June of this year, and we did post guidance on our webpage. And there are different criteria for the different typologies of neighborhood centers. Like I mentioned, that being existing neighborhood centers, evolving, or future neighborhood centers. In the step we're currently in right now, we are looking for local governments to identify neighborhood center locations, and I'll dive into that in the next slide in a second. And from there, we will work with state agencies to update the grant award criteria by December of next year. Next slide. So we currently are in the neighborhood center pilot designation round. Like I mentioned, we did publish guidance on June 30th of this year, and that can be found on the neighborhood center's webpage. And right now we are seeking jurisdictions with existing neighborhood centers to complete the brief form and kick off this process. This will be for the pilot round, and the pilot round is incredibly important because it will help us define the criteria that will apply to other types of neighborhood centers, such as evolving neighborhood centers, future neighborhood centers, etc. So again, we are looking for 9 to 12 jurisdictions that maybe meet that existing neighborhood center criteria. If you're interested and not really sure where to start, or if you're not sure if your jurisdiction fits within our definition, please don't hesitate to reach out to Scott or I, and we can discuss that further. But a great place to start would be that brief form that we have linked here. Next slide. And with that, I'll turn it back to Scott.
Great, thanks, Hannah. And I'll be talking about a bit of a related effort, which is the statewide strategic growth report, all under the umbrella of strategic growth. And in January and February, we really started initiating the development of the strategic growth report with focus groups. And then our consultants worked on developing scenarios for the strategic growth report as required in Senate Bill 174. In June, we released the first draft materials for public comment. So please take a look at our website to comment on the policy context, introduction, as well as a policy scan that are included on the website there. And the due date for that feedback is July 31st on those first two elements. And then we also had on June 24th a webinar with the Rocky Mountain Land Use Institute, and that recording is available on our website if you're interested in taking a look. We had some great feedback from experts around the state on where they think the emphasis should be in that policy scan work. And then finally, moving into August and September, we will have additional focus groups to help refine the overall report and policy recommendations as required in the law. It will also be soliciting case studies. So we're still figuring out how we may approach that. Hannah mentioned the neighborhood centers designation. That may be one place we look to gather some case studies. You all have also done some great work with the Strong Communities program. So a variety of different options we have in pulling local case studies. So stay tuned on that. We'll also have additional draft chapters available for comment, and then we'll work to finalize the report in time to submit to the legislature by the end of October. And then the second statewide report required by Senate Bill 174 is what we're calling now the Vital Landscapes and Resources Report. It's known in the legislation as the Natural Lands and Agricultural Opportunities Report. But for clarity and to cover an inclusive range of topics that are listed in the legislation and copied here, we thought this name better reflected and better communicated the overall topics. So right now we're getting feedback from our state agency partners to make sure we've pulled in the relevant resources that they've developed over time in a way that's helpful for local governments and regional entities that are looking to take action on connectivity and preservation of priority lands and landscapes. And then in September, November, we'll have a review period on the final report with additional input from focus groups. And that report is due by the end of December to the legislature. And then I'll hand it over to Mitch to talk more about grant program updates.
All right, thanks, Scott. Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 grant programs that you've heard about over the last couple of months at our webinar. And I'll get us started with the Housing Planning Grant Program, knowing that that's actually been the most active of the programs. And as a reminder, the Housing Planning Grant Program can provide grants to local governments and regional entities to help them better understand their housing needs and develop actionable and compliant housing needs assessments, housing action plans, water supply elements, and strategic growth elements of comprehensive plans. And the map on this slide represents both the awards that were made in round 1, showed in purple, and then the applications that we received in round 2, which just closed on July 11th, shown in green. And in round one, we had 11 awards that represented 23 local governments. So we're really seeing some good regional work and a lot of effort collaborating between some large regions you can see here on the map. And in round two, we received 20 applications representing 39 local governments with some really innovative projects being proposed. We do anticipate awards for round two to go out at the end of August. And if for some reason you haven't been able to apply yet for this program and you're interested in, say, working on a housing needs assessment that is due at the end of 2026, please reach out to Ashley Basham here. You'll see her email either in the chat and or on the slide, and then complete that interest survey. It really helps us get a sense for demand and what we should expect for the next round. But we are anticipating a third round this year and likely in November. So please let us know where you're at, what you're interested in, and if you think you'd be ready to apply come November. Okay, thanks for moving on. So the next grant program is the ADU grant program, as Hannah just mentioned. This program offers funding for certified ADU supportive jurisdictions for such things like developing pre-approved ADU plans. You can develop an ADU incentive program with these funds. You can use funds to provide technical assistance for the conversion and construction of ADUs, and also to use grant funds to waive, reduce, or otherwise provide financial assistance for new ADUs locally. And as Hannah mentioned, the pilot round of the ADU grant program will open on August 1st, and per statute will be open to any local government that has been certified as an ADU supportive jurisdiction. So while we set the preliminary end date of the round as August 29th, there's a chance that date could be pushed out if the process to certify local governments takes a little bit longer than anticipated. So keep an eye on that. But the application round is opening Friday, August 1st. And we do anticipate a second round of funding to be held in early 2026, as long as there's available funding. And you see, oh, sorry, can you go back really quick? I do want to also introduce the new ADU grant program manager, Jack Wolflink. Jack, if you want to come on, give everyone a wave.
Yep. Looking
Fantastic.
forward to working with everyone.
Thanks, Jack. And yes, if you're interested in the grant program and don't know where your community stands as far as what maybe you could use the funds for, please email Jack. And if you're interested but not sure where your community stands in the way of certification, email Hannah. You've seen her email in the chat. And either way, we can help you get to where you want to be for this grant program, whether it's for this first round, pilot round, or come early 2026. We want to support your project. So please let us know where you're at. And last but not least, the Transit-Oriented Communities Infrastructure Grant. And as a reminder, this program was created by House Bill 24-1313 to assist local governments in upgrading infrastructure and supporting affordable housing in transit centers and neighborhood centers that are within the certified transit-oriented communities. So we're anticipating the pilot round for this grant program to be held and open in fall of this year, with a second and final round to be held in 2027 when more of those certifications will be present and available. So please contact Program Manager Ashley Basham or I if you're interested in providing input on those program guidelines. Opportunity should be coming up in the next month or so. And then the process to become a certified transit-oriented community, as that's kind of one of the keys to being eligible for grant funds. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton back to Eugene to close us out.
All right, it always takes me a hot second to figure out how to turn myself back on. And here I am. Phew. So yes, thank you everyone for all these great updates. I'm going to wrap things up for us here. So just a quick reminder of all the different resources that are available to you. Again, we'll be sending out this slide deck, so you'll have access to all of these hyperlinked resources. So no need to try to jot them all down right now, but we have lots of information that we've tried to produce for use to you all. So definitely we encourage you to take advantage of these resources. Let us know if there's something else that isn't available that maybe we could help produce or provide to you. Mentioned in previous webinars, but I thought it would be great to sort of remind everyone. We've got some fact sheets that are available. So when you all are wanting to address questions with your residents or elected officials, and want to make sure that you've got some good resources available, we do have those fact sheets that you can find online in our resources and tools area. We've got all the information around compliance and guidance. We've got a number of different examples and case studies. So really, we really want to make sure that you all have tools that we can provide for you that are useful to you at the local level. So again, if there's anything that you know of that we don't have listed, let us know and we'll take a look and evaluate it, and we'll use it and provide it to others as needed. And again, a lot of the case studies, a lot of the work that you all are doing at the local level helps us understand how to share and provide, suggestions to other communities. So we, again, learn so much when we engage and work with you all, and really, really enjoy doing that. So I'll keep things going here. Uh, this is just a quick reminder of some of the dates. A couple have kind of come and gone, but we do have a number of upcoming dates that are important to keep note of. And it's never too early to start thinking about your needs assessments and action plans. And so really just want to make sure that we keep these upcoming dates on everyone's radar, and let us know how we can assist. We've got a number of folks that have joined DOLA and new contacts. So this is just an overview of all the folks that you can reach out to for assistance or with questions, or if you'd like us to maybe come and present to a local group or to your electeds, we're happy to do things like that as well. We are partnering with many local communities in presentations and webinar opportunities and educational opportunities. So we're more than happy to partner with you if that is something of interest to you. And before we wrap things up and sort of turn things over for questions and answers, wanted to also mention that as we are working with all of you to implement and stand up these laws, general public members are beginning to hear about them too. And every now and again, we might get an inquiry from a resident. And just know that in those cases, most likely we will be referring them back to you all, because you are their planning experts, you are their local representatives. And so every now and again, you might get an email from myself or a member of the team with a referral to someone from your community. And that's because we want to make sure that they work with you all and speak with you all. So just wanted to drop that in case you're like, well, why am I hearing about this resident from Eugene or from Hannah? That might be where that is coming from. I think we have gone through all of the updates for today. So I will go ahead and just turn off the recording and see if we've got any questions. It also allows me to be able to see, because right now I can't see anyone. So I'm going to pause this.